YouTube and Facebook. So when you come on, tell us hello, tell us how you're doing, tell us where you're from. Owen is going to be reading the comments, so if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask, because Owen can relay those for me. So what deals, but I'm gonna do just that. So I went out in my yard this morning and I picked a few different varieties of daffodils. And actually, Narcissus I don't really think is even a daffodil, but it smells so beautiful and it looks like just a miniature of a jonquil or a daffodil. I've got just the traditional daffodils, and then these are I guess double or triple bloom daffodils. My mama always called them she always called them scrambled eggs because they kind of look like a scrambled egg in the center. They all have a beautiful fragrance, and so we're going to work with some of those. They are a little bit dirty because it rained last night, and so you should have seen them. They were all leaning down. They were just so pitiful this morning when I cut them, but they dried and they look much happier today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a container. This is actually an old antique container. It's a McCoy piece of pottery. I love this color, and I think this color is so fantastic with yellow. I'm also going to use some faux tulips because I didn't have any fresh in, and I thought tulips would be perfect with daffodils. I'm going to use some artificial forsythia. So these are forsythia branches, and forsythia branches, our forsythia bloomed about 2 weeks ago, and so I think forsythia is some of the prettiest blooming bushes that we have around, and they're just so lovely, and I thought, let's do some forsythia with our daffodils. And then I have some berries and some roses, so we're just going to do something just fun and pretty and looks like spring. So I have started out with a partial block of fresh floral foam, and I soaked it in water, and then I have taped it down into my container so it's not going to go anywhere. Next, what I'm going to do is add just a little bit of Spanish moss. Now what this Spanish moss is going to do is cover my mechanics and just help me easily cover this foam and this tape.
Everybody's saying hello. Miss Mary Lou from YouTube says hello.
Hello everybody. Thank you for being here. And again, I am so sorry for the delay. I apologize.
Miss Easley says hello from YouTube, and she loves daffodils.
Oh, they are my favorite. They are my favorite, I believe. I say that about all flowers, but I really will say my very first favorite flower was the daffodil. My very first favorite one.
Miss Allison said she clicked on your video and it popped up a 10-second ad. And then she says, "What's going on, Monty? Do you have commercials now?"
I do have commercials. Yes. So, was it on Facebook?
It was on Facebook. Yeah.
Both Facebook and YouTube are now adding ads. And so we get a little bit of ad revenue, not very much, but a tiny bit. So every little bit helps, doesn't it? So I'm going to start out with adding just a little bit of foliage to my arrangement. And so I've got, this is one of those mixed bouquets that you've seen me work with. I just kind of spread out all of my different foliages. I'm going to start out with a little bit of leather. And so I'm just taking my fingernail and I'm kind of popping it in small pieces.
Miss Secret Garden Floral says hello from Wisconsin.
Welcome, Secret
Garden. And they're
Garden.
expecting a ton of snow in the next 48 hours.
Oh, goodness. Y'all stay safe. That's so funny because it is so hot here. Today our high was 75. And it's so strange that people are having winter weather and we're having spring weather. It'll be summer tomorrow probably. In Mississippi, you just never hold your breath because you never know what the weather's going to be.
Miss Julie said there is no sound for her on Facebook, but it should be working because I can hear you. Everything
sounds good. You
can
hear the sound?
It does sound
and
good.
just ask, if you would, give us a thumbs up if you're hearing the sound okay. Or a heart. And what, Miss Julie, you may need to go out and come back into this video and see if that helps you. If she doesn't have any sound.
They're sending likes and hearts, so they.
Okay, so they're hearing me.
They are hearing you.
Okay, good.
Hello
good.
from the Philippines.
Hello, friend. Welcome.
Hello from South Carolina. Hello from, let's see, Indiana as well.
Yay, so glad you are all here with me this afternoon. I just heard from Victoria, and Victoria got back home. So she is home. She will be here tomorrow helping with the video, so I know you'll all be excited about that. So I found this little nest in our back room. We were working on some spring stuff, and I found this little nest, and it has some sweet little eggs in it. And I thought this would be the very center of our arrangement. Again, I'm using some faux and some fresh in this container. And I got the inspiration off of Pinterest. So,
Miss Atkinson says hello from the UK, and they're seeing some snow there, and that she loves daffodils.
oh, thank you for being here. So glad you're here. These daffodils smell so good. They smell so pretty. Okay, so I have that little nest there in the center.
Miss Mary Ann says it's a beautiful combination of live and faux.
Oh, thank you. I always think it's fun to use what you have, and sometimes you don't have fresh, so we're going to use faux, right? And when you mix fresh in with faux, I think it really makes it look fresh. So I'm taking, so this is one bush. It's got 3 pretty good stems of forsythia on it. So I'm going to take, I have 2 of those. So I'm going to take these branches. I'm going to remove my tag because that's a telltale sign that I'm using artificial, right? And I'm just taking it and pushing it right down in to that floral foam. And again, that foam has been soaked. Always remember it's important to soak that foam. So my stem has lots of little tiny stems on it. So I'm just taking and cutting that one stem into smaller pieces.
Miss Margaret, I believe it's from Ireland. She always comments on our YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yes. She says, "Good evening, Monty and Mr. Owen," and she's happy to have called us live.
So glad you're here, Miss Margaret. All right, let's see. Okay, so I have some forsythia. Next, I thought that I would take a little bit of fresh myrtle and kind of mix it in with the forsythia. So I've got my floral knife. I thought that this might, to me, yellow does not need to be broken up, but it's really, really yellow. So I thought that I would take some of these fresh branches and kind of tuck them throughout that forsythia and give us just a little bit of a break with all of that yellow.
Miss Margaret says her daffodils are awesome in the garden she has.
Oh, I bet
she
they
has
are.
vases of them all over the house.
Hey, Owen, can you open that? Because I cannot see what this can you open the screen? Okay, well, will you turn on my Facebook over here so that I can see what I'm doing because I'm backwards? Give it to me. Okay. Because it's hard for me to know what I'm doing. Gosh, these daffodils do smell so pretty.
How was that?
Here, let me move it over here. So it's because to the side, I'm not able to see it.
Sorry, everybody. We're moving her phone so she can see how she's arranging it from the front.
You know, it's I have been told that it would be smart if I got a mirror, and so this is one of those times when a mirror would certainly help. But if I can see the screen where I'm filming, then I can see what I'm doing from behind the screen. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that made a lick of sense. Okay. Next, we're going to come in with a little bit of this Israeli ruscus, and then I have some pittosporum, some variegated pittosporum.
Miss Melanie said she missed us over the Valentine holiday. I assume either she's a florist or something, and she's gonna have to binge watch our videos. We didn't post that many videos.
We did
for Valentine's.
not. We didn't post a whole lot through, but I did do a few little things here and there. But yeah, it was so busy. It's a hard holiday. It's a hard holiday. I'm so thankful it's over. And so thankful it only comes once a year. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a few little pieces of the pittosporum, and I am kind of tucking them down into the center and giving us just a little bit of pretty color there.
In South Carolina, somebody from South Carolina said it was 77 degrees, and then somebody said from Tennessee said it was 72.
Yes, it's so warm, isn't it? It feels like spring. It's time to Easter egg hunt. It is time to Easter egg hunt. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this Israeli ruscus, and I'm just tucking a little bit of that here and there. This is another one of those arrangements, though, guys, that you can go out and cut pretty foliage out of your yard if you have any that's pretty. And this would be something that you could certainly do with things that are growing in your yard, such as the daffodils and the forsythia that would be growing. Okay, I'm going to turn it around really quickly. Okay. All right, so next what my plans are to take some of these faux tulips. I'm going to tuck this greenery. I'm in such a disarray today. Okay, because these are artificial and I cannot use a knife, I'm going to take and snip the stems, and I just snipped it like it was fresh. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm going to tuck some of these tulips.
Miss Dawn asked, do you need to do anything different with the flowers you cut out of your garden?
I tell you that the only thing you're going to do different, Miss Dawn, is you are going to cut in the morning versus in the evening. They are happier flowers if you cut them in the morning because they've been able to be revived overnight. When you cut them late in the day, they've had the hot, warm day, and that takes a lot out of them. So when you cut them, it takes a lot. You know, it takes a good while for them to come back and be happy flowers. And so when harvesting flowers, you want to harvest them early in the morning. And you just want to cut them and process them the same way you would any florals that you get in. Okay, so I took some of those pretty tulips and I tucked them over here to one side.
I'm going to hello from New Jersey,
Hello
from North Carolina, and a hello from Pittsburgh.
Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay, so here are our tulips on one side. Next, I have several different types of narcissus. So I have this is a traditional daffodil, and a little story about these daffodils. These are bulbs that came out of my grandmother's yard, and so Mama and I went and dug up some of the bulbs out of my grandmother's yard and planted them in my yard. Those are also the same bulbs that came out of my great-grandmother's yard. So these are very old bulbs, or I mean they've replenished over the years, but these bulbs actually came out of my grandmama's yard. So that's a fun little thing. So these are just traditional, or what I would call a traditional daffodil. Now, a daffodil is not going to love this fresh floral foam, and so you kind of have to be a little careful when inserting it into the foam. So you can see me kind of working.
People are saying hello from New York. We have an Amory, Mississippi.
Welcome, welcome.
In Arkansas. a Pickwick, Tennessee, and a Kansas.
So glad you're here, guys. Thank you for being here. So I am just going to take these daffodils and I'm going to very carefully work them right into this fresh floral foam. Again, they don't love the foam so much because their little stems are a little tender. And so they don't just love floral foam, but they'll be fine. Now, one little thing about daffodils is they're not very nice to other flowers. And what I mean by that is daffodils, if you've ever cut them and put them in water, you're gonna see how they have like a little sap that'll come out. So it's kind of like a little sticky sap that comes out of that stem. Well, what that does, whatever that little sap is, it doesn't make other flowers happy. And so other flowers will not last very long in a mixed arrangement of daffodils and other flowers. So when designing with daffodils, you should probably use either faux flowers like I'm using here, or use them in a vase where they're all by themselves. And they will be much happier, and all their flower friends will be happier too.
Miss Nolene from Ireland says she loves your style.
Thank you, friend. So glad.
And Miss Mary Lou on YouTube says she loves your top. The color looks good on you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. All right, so there's my traditional daffodils, and they're just kind of tucked over there to the side. You see how they almost look like they're just growing there. Next, I'm going to take, I have a couple of stems of narcissus. Okay, so I don't know if you can see them, but there are lots of little tiny daffodils on one stem, basically. Now, they smell lovely. Quite honestly, they smell stronger than the actual daffodils themselves. So I only had 2 stems that were pretty this morning. So I'm going to take these 2 guys, I'm going to cut them short, and I am going to tuck them pretty close.
Got a hello from Malaysia.
Hello, welcome, welcome.
And Mr. Steven asked, could you wire the daffodils?
You absolutely probably could, Stephen. I would probably use this larger gauge. This is I'm not sure what the gauge of this is. It's too big for roses, but I almost thought I could probably take it and run it in the stem. So if I cut the stem, I wondered if I couldn't run it just deep into that stem, and then it gives it a little bit more form. It makes it a little stiffer, and it might push easier into that foam. Yeah, it did.
Miss Melissa asked if you were using wet foam for this with your silks.
So this is wet floral foam, and the reason I'm using the wet floral foam is because I'm also using fresh florals in with the artificial. So yes. So now I have these double bloomed daffodils. And so I think I'm going to do, like Stephen said, I'm going to use a little bit more wire. I'm going to tuck these guys kind of here in the center. I'm going to cut them a little shorter, and I'm just taking that heavy gauge wire and I'm running it in that stem, and what that's doing is giving me a little bit more stability in that stem. Yeah, it's not going to, yeah, maybe a little bit. So I tell you something else that makes it a little hard too, is I've got this little Spanish moss in there. So you kind of have to pull that Spanish moss back to make them kind of go down into that arrangement, or that fresh floral foam. So you'll just have to work with the daffodils. Like I said, their little stems are a little bit tender.
Miss Dawn said she heard Mr. Todd in the back.
Yes, you heard his toes, his toenails. He just came in. He's trying to tell Owen it's time to go home. So I'm kind of just working those daffodils right down into that arrangement. Okay, next I thought I have a few yellow roses that I thought might give us some something a little heavier down in that base, because everything I've got is a little small. So you just saw me blowing that stem, and I was just trying to open it up just a little bit. So I'm not wiring these roses because really this arrangement's just for me. So I'm going to take these roses and I'm going to tuck them right down in here to give us some weight. I'm just tucking just a few of those yellow roses right there in that center, just to give just a touch of weight right there.
Oh, you could talk about, we do have a video coming out today right after the live stream. You know, casket piece you made? Yes.
So earlier today I made a casket piece for a gentleman, and so Owen's going to post that today. It's going to be over on YouTube, but we will post a link here on our Facebook page also. Okay, so there's our little roses, and I thought let's put a few of these little green hyperican berries. So if this does not scream spring, I don't know what does. And that is exactly what today has felt like. It's felt like spring.
Miss Tina said yellow roses make her think of her mother. They were her favorite flower. We actually just posted a video using yellow roses.
We did yesterday, didn't we, Owen? Some pretty yellow roses for a birthday arrangement. Yellow roses remind me of my mama too. And daffodils. My mom and daddy are going to be married 50 years next week, and so they used daffodils in their wedding, and so yellow roses have always been Mama's favorite. I'm not exactly sure why, but isn't it funny how when you think of yellow, you think of somebody, or you think of, it's funny how when you see different things, you think of people you love. They bring back great memories. All right, so I'm just tucking a few of these little hyperican berries in there, and really all that's doing is giving us a little bit of different texture down in that arrangement.
Miss Karen says, keep missing your lives. Looks like spring. Hello from Indiana.
Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you made it. Yes, I tell you, if you're on Facebook and you're not getting the notifications, if you'll look at your Facebook page, and right up at the top, there are 3 tiny little dots. If you'll click on those little dots, it's going to give you an option to get notifications. So you can click on there and you can turn those notifications on. All right, guys. Well, here is our daffodil and spring arrangement. So it is actually filled with both fresh and faux flowers and greenery. Most of the greenery is fresh. The greenery on this little bird nest is artificial. The tulips are faux, and the forsythia is faux, but the roses, all of the daffodils and the berries and the foliage, the regular foliage, is all fresh. So it's a great mixture of both fresh and faux.
Miss Judy says, I love it and definitely scream spring. I really enjoy watching you and that you're the best.
Oh, you are so kind. Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you. Anybody else got any questions, Owen?
Let's see, questions. Miss Donna says yellow roses are also her favorite flower. She loves yellow. I like many others, but loves yellow roses.
Well, I tell you, yellow roses, orange roses, kind of a peachy color, they're all so lovely and scream spring. But yellow's my favorite color, so I would probably have to say yellow roses are my favorite color rose.
Stephen asked if we had any male designers around our area in Southern Illinois. Most flower designers are men. That's interesting.
That is interesting. Now here, actually, I don't know in our city if we have any male designers. Now, at our local college, our professors were all male. And so I learned from Dr. Jim Del Prince, who is actually now in, he works with Extension for Mississippi State University, and he is actually close to New Orleans now. But he works for the Mississippi State Extension and teaches floral design. So I learned from male designers, but I have actually never really worked with a male designer here in our shop. We had one guy who came in as a delivery driver and learned to design. He was very excited to learn to design, but he graduated and moved on, and so that's usually what happens. But we have not had a male designer here in our shop.
Miss Rita says, you do awesome work. I wish you were close.
Oh, thank you, Miss Rita. Thank you so much.
Miss Alton says she loves yellow roses, daffodils, and it's been 84 degrees in Virginia.
Isn't that crazy? It's so crazy. Our weather is so crazy.
And then you have a lot of people saying it's beautiful.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Let's see. Okay, do you get many requests for mixed silk and fresh arrangements?
I do not very often. Now recently we have gotten a few requests to do like mantelpieces in artificial and fresh, which I think has been a great thing. We've been kind of excited to do some different things, but no, not a whole lot of mixed artificial and fresh. For me, this was more of an arrangement for me than it was for anything else. And I thought the forsythia was perfect in this styled arrangement. So that's the reason I chose to mix the two. But we do not get a lot of orders for the mixture of the two. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon, and thank you for being patient. You never know with our crazy camera if we're gonna get it right. So we do appreciate y'all being here, and Miss Victoria will be back tomorrow. So we will see you all tomorrow. Thank you so much, guys.